change might just make you a millionaire. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this rusty old thing ain't worth squat? Yeah, me too. Until I found out there's a 2004 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark out there worth a whopping $1.1 million. That's right. A single cent that could buy you a dream truck, a fishing cabin, or about 1.1 million items at the dollar store. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into this rare penny. What makes it so valuable, how to spot one, and why coin collectors are going absolutely nuts over it. Now let me tell you a quick story. Last summer, I was digging through an old coffee can of coins my grandpa left me. I figured maybe I'd find a silver dime or two. Instead, I found dirt, lint, and gum wrappers from the 70s. But just as I was about to give up, I spotted a shiny little penny, a 2004, no mint mark, and it looked different. Now, I ain't saying I found the $1 million one, but it lit a fire under me. I started researching, flipping through coin books, checking online auctions, and man, I was stunned. I realized I had just scratched the surface of something big.so. Let's dig into the mystery behind this $1 million coin. The Lincoln penny has been around since 1909, and 2004 was just another year in the long line of designs, or so we thought. Most pennies from 2004 aren't worth more than face value, unless you get the no mint mark error, combined with some other rare characteristics. That's where the magic happens. Most 2004 pennies were made in Philadelphia and Denver. Denver coins have a D. Philly coins usually have no mint mark, but what makes this particular 2004 no mint mark penny special is the combination of rarity, a major error, and pristine condition. Alright, now here's the juicy part. The $1.1 million 2004 Lincoln penny stands out because of a striking error. And we're not just talking about a minor scratch or discoloration. We're talking about a die clash, misaligned strike, or even a double die, something that happened during the minting process that created a totally unique penny. This coin is in near perfect condition. That's a grade like MS69 or MS70 on the Sheldon scale. That means it's sharp, flawless, and looks like it just came off the mint floor yesterday. There are only a couple known to exist like this. That's why collectors are willing to drop over $1 million on it. Rarity plus condition equals pure gold, or in this case, pure copper. And O mint mark under the year. That tells you it's from the Philadelphia Mint. No worn edges or smudged lettering. Check for doubling in Lincoln's profile or the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." If you spot a penny like that, especially in pristine condition, don't spend it on a gumball. Get that baby graded immediately. So, you think you found the one? The next step is sending it off to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll inspect it, slap a grade on it, and seal it in a protective case. It'll cost you a bit upfront, but if your coin grade's high, that's an investment that'll pay off big time. Without professional grading, collectors won't take it seriously. Back in 2023, one of these rare 2004 pennies sold at auction for $1.1 million. It blew collectors away because nobody expected such a modern coin to go for that much. Die clash error, flawless red copper finish, and zero handling wear. The coin was pulled right out of a mint set and preserved like fine wine. Since then, prices have only gone up. Some believe the next sale could break $1.50 million. Lincoln pennies are already super popular. They're the most collected U.S. coin. But finding a modern-day coin with this kind of value? That's like finding buried treasure in your glove compartment. The excitement of a modern-day discovery. Who wouldn't want to say, "Yeah, I made $1 million off a penny"? Your pocket change coin jars, drawers, and piggy banks, old collections from family members' estate sales, and garage sales look especially for rolls of pennies from the early 2000s. That's where hidden gems often show up. Alright guys, if you're still with me, you now know that the humble 2004 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny could be your ticket to millionaire status. It's rare, valuable, and still out there waiting to be discovered. Don't ignore your loose change. That penny could be the most expensive thing in your house. Go dig through that old jar of coins. Check your wallet. Raid the cushions of your couch. And if you find a 2004 penny with no mint mark, sharp edges, a shiny red color, and no scratches, get it graded immediately. You just might be holding $1.1 million in your hand. And hey, if this video opened your eyes to the value hiding in your spare change, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe for more coin hunting tips, and share this video with your buddies. Who knows? Maybe one of them has that $1 million penny just sitting on their dresser. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting, gentlemen. Hey fellas, welcome back to the BS Coins Wood channel where spare change might just make you rich. Now let me ask you something. When's the last time you took a good look at your pocket change? I mean really looked? Because if you're anything like me, you probably toss pennies into a jar and forget all about them. But let me tell you, one little coin from 1985 could be worth $1.2 million bucks right now. Yeah, I said million, with an M. So today, we're talking about the 1985 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Don't underestimate that coppery little guy. It might just be the retirement plan you didn't know you had. Stick around, because I'm gonna break down what makes this penny so special, how to spot one, and the insane reasons behind its $1 million value. And yeah, I've got a personal story in here too, involving an old Folgers can, a coin show, and a guy who almost fainted on the spot. You don't want to miss that. Alright, so let's rewind to 1985. Ronald Reagan was president, Back to the Future was in theaters, and gas was about $1.12 a gallon. Pennies were still being made primarily from zinc with a thin copper coating, a change the U.S. Mint made in 1982 to save money. But even though these were mass-produced, not all of them were created equal. Now, most 1985 pennies were made in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But here's the catch. Philadelphia didn't use a mint mark at the time. So, if your 1985 penny has no mint mark, that's actually pretty normal. But the $1 million ones? Oh, they've got something extra special going on. We're talking about errors, condition, and rarity, the holy trinity of coin collecting. And let me tell you, these are not the kind of pennies you'll find under the couch cushions, unless you're incredibly lucky. Now let me take y'all back about 10 years. I was at a small coin show in Ohio, just browsing around, drinking bad coffee, and talking coins with a bunch of old-timers. One fella, let's call him Larry, had this rusty old Folgers can full of pennies. Swear to God, he'd been throwing his change in there since the 70s. He finally decided to go through it one rainy Sunday afternoon. Now, Larry's not the type to get worked up over much. But when he saw one of those pennies looked off, he brought it in. The thing had no mint mark, but what caught the experts' eye was the incredibly sharp strike, flawless fields, and this weird doubling on the date. Turns out, he'd stumbled onto one of the rarest 1985 pennies ever found. That coin got certified by PCGS at MS69 red, and guess what? It sold at auction for over $1 million bucks. He's retired now. Moved down to Florida. Buys expensive fishing rods and drinks umbrella drinks on the beach. And all because of a penny he almost used to buy a pack of gum. Most 1985 no-mint mark pennies are worth face value, unless they're in pristine condition or have rare errors. But some have fetched hundreds of thousands, and one in particular hit the $1.2 million mark. Why? Let's break it down. If your penny is an MS67 or higher, that's a big deal. That means no scratches, no wear, sharp detail, and a blazing red color. Only a handful of these exist in the world. Some 1985 pennies have double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, or die cracks that make them extremely valuable. The $1,000,000 penny was a double die obverse with an insanely rare strike error, flawless, and one-of-a-kind. PCGS and NGC keep track of how many coins have been graded at certain levels. If there are only one or two in MS69RD, that scarcity drives up value fast. Collectors go wild for that stuff. If a coin like this goes up at Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, you can bet it'll bring in serious bids. That $1.2 million sale? It was a bidding war between two private collectors who just had to have it. Go grab that jar of pennies sitting in your garage, under your car seat, or in your sock drawer. Look for 1985 no mint mark Lincoln pennies. Grab a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. You're looking for. If you find one that looks promising, don't clean it. Whatever you do, don't clean it. Take it to a local coin shop or submit it to PCGS or NGC for grading. Coin collecting ain't just a hobby anymore. It's treasure hunting. And the best part? You don't have to go digging in the dirt. You just have to check your change. That 1985 penny you've been ignoring might be the key to a new truck, a cabin in the woods, or heck, even early retirement. Like this video if you've got change laying around. Subscribe if you want to hear about more coins that are worth life-changing money. And in the comments, tell me what year your oldest penny is. I read every single one. Thanks for watching. Now go check your pennies. And hey, if you find a $1 million one, don't forget who sent you. Hey there, fellas. Welcome back to the Bees Coins Wood channel, where your pocket change could be your retirement plan. If you've ever looked at a penny and thought, well, that's just 1 cent, I've got news for you. Some pennies are worth more than a brand new truck, a luxury vacation, and a down payment on a house, combined. Today, we're diving deep into the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Yep, that little copper coin that most folks just toss into the nearest jar or leave in the car's cup holder could actually be worth $1.3 million. That's right, $1.3 million for a penny. I wish I was joking, but this is no April Fool's joke. We're going to talk about why it's worth so much, how to identify it, what makes it so rare, and how you can check your own coins for this potential jackpot. A couple years back, I was cleaning out my old toolbox. You know, one of those catch-all drawers where there's some old screws, a rusted wrench, a random A battery, and a handful of dirty coins. I'm just about to chuck him in the coin jar when I spot a 1988 penny. It looked normal, maybe a little worn. But for some reason, I held on to it. Something just felt different. Later that night, I started researching 1988 pennies, and there it was. A listing of one with no mint mark that sold for over $1 million. My heart jumped out of my chest like a jackrabbit in a thunderstorm. Mine wasn't the jackpot, sadly, but that moment changed everything. I've been on the hunt ever since. So now, I'm here to help you check your change and maybe, just maybe, turn a penny into a payday. Let's start with the basics. The 1988 penny features good old Abraham Lincoln on the front, or the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Most 1988 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally doesn't use a mint mark. So technically a no mint mark penny from that year isn't immediately rare. But here's the kicker. There's a special 1988 penny with a reverse design mix-up. And that's the $1 million coin we're talking about today. It's what collectors call a transitional error. In 1988, the U.S. Mint was switching some of the master dies used in penny production. And someone, probably unaware, used a reverse die from 1989 on a batch of 1988 pennies. This mix-up created a small, but highly valuable variation because it combined features from two different years. The rare one has what's called the 1989 reverse design. Specifically, a distinct GN, FG, those tiny initials just to the right of the Lincoln Memorial dot on the regular 1988 coin. The initials, FG, are farther from the building and more softly struck. On the rare one, they are sharper and closer, just like the 1989 design. Alright, grab a magnifying glass, fellas, and maybe a good desk lamp, because you'll need sharp eyes. Look for a 1988 penny with endowment mark. Flip it over and look closely at the Lincoln Memorial. Check the initials FG, right side of the base of the memorial dot if they appear sharper and closer to the building. You might be holding a transitional design error. Only a handful have ever been found, which is what makes them so insanely valuable. It's all about scarcity, condition, and collector demand. There may be fewer than 50 of these known to exist. That's less than the number of people who've walked on the moon. And when a coin is that rare, collectors go nuts. Like MS-67 or higher. And you've got a coin that's practically flawless. That's where the $1.3 million valuation comes in. The last time one of these showed up at auction, bidders went wild. The coin was graded nearly perfect, and it shattered records. Now, not all 1988 pennies are worth $1 million, but some are worth hundreds or even thousands. Where Lincoln's face or letters look doubled. Where the image is visibly misaligned. Parts of the coin are missing due to a minting error. Even in average condition, these oddities can fetch between $50 to $5,000 depending on the error. You'd be surprised where these treasures show up. I've heard stories of folks finding rare pennies in. If you've got access to old coin rolls, especially bank rolls from the late 80s, start hunting. Coin roll hunting is like playing the lottery with better odds and no scratch-offs. If you think you've found something special, don't go putting it on eBay just yet. First, protect it. Use a soft cloth or gloves to handle it. No fingerprints. They'll certify its authenticity and grade, which will dramatically increase its value if it's legit. Unfortunately, where there's money, there are scammers. Some folks try to fake that FG design or alter the date. Always verify your coins with a reputable dealer or grading service before making any big claims or sales. Now, if you do have one of these babies, you've got a decision to make. Cash out or hold? With prices continuing to rise and more collectors entering the market, holding it could mean even bigger bucks down the road. But hey, if someone offers you over $1 million for a penny, that's a tough deal to pass up. The 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny that could change your life. A tiny coin with a huge story. You never know, one of these rare beauties could be sitting in your pocket right now, or in that old jar on top of the fridge you haven't touched since Clinton was in office. Before you go digging through your spare change like a pirate looking for treasure, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got more videos coming your way about coins you wouldn't believe are worth thousands or even millions. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this one, and share it with your buddies, especially the ones who think collecting coins is just for grandpas. Trust me, fellas, there's gold in your junk drawer. All you gotta do is look for it. Hey there, fellas. Got any spare change in your pocket right now? Maybe some pennies sitting in a jar on the kitchen counter, or buried under the seat of your old pickup truck. Well, you might want to dig those out, because one of those little copper-colored coins could be worth more than a brand new house. I'm talking about the 1986 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And this bad boy recently made headlines for being worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yep, $1.4 million. For a coin most of us used to leave in the take-a-penny tray at the gas station. Today, I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about this insanely valuable penny, how to spot it, why it's so rare, and how you just might have one without even knowing it. So grab your coffee, kick back, and let's talk coins that can buy cars, houses, or even your retirement. Now, let me tell you how I stumbled into this whole coin collecting rabbit hole. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my dad's garage. God bless him, the man never threw anything away. In one of his old toolboxes, I found a metal tin full of coins. Nothing special at first glance, just your usual pennies, nickels, and some lint-covered quarters. But one of those pennies looked different. It didn't have a mint mark. And that's when I got curious. I looked it up, and sure enough, some of these no mint mark Lincoln cents are worth serious cash. That one wasn't worth $1 million, unfortunately, but it was enough to light the fire. Since then, I've been hooked. And today, I'm here to help you figure out if you've got a gold mine hiding in plain sight. The 1986 Lincoln penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. It features Abraham Lincoln on the front, same as always, but on the back, it shows the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Pretty standard stuff, right? Most of these pennies were struck at either the Philadelphia or Denver mints. If it came from Denver, you'll see a little D under the date. But if it was minted in Philly, no mint mark. Just a blank space beneath the year. Now, here's the kicker. Most 1986 no mint mark pennies are worth 1 cent. Maybe 2 if you're lucky, and sell it to your neighbor. But every now and then, a rare variety pops up. And that's what we're talking about today. So why on earth would a 1986 penny with no mint mark be worth over $1 million? First off, minting errors. The valuable 1986 penny we're talking about wasn't just your average no mint mark coin. This one had multiple rare characteristics. It was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the usual copper-plated zinc. The die used to stamp the coin was misaligned just slightly, enough to be noticeable but not enough to ruin the coin, and the coin was in pristine condition. We're talking MS68 red grade, nearly flawless. Now combine all that with its historical significance, low survival rate, and collector demand, and you've got yourself $1 million penny. Let's dive a little deeper into how these errors even happen. Back in the 80s, the U.S. Mint switched from using solid bronze for pennies to a cheaper copper-plated zinc. But once in a blue moon, a bronze blank from the old days would get stuck in a bin or machine, and years later, bam! It gets stamped with a 1986 design. That's how you end up with a rare bronze 1986 penny. Basically an accidental time traveler from the pre-1982 era. Now, if the dies are worn out or misaligned, and the coin slips through quality control, that's just icing on the cake for collectors. Mistakes like that turn boring pocket change into treasure. Alright, so here's the part you've been waiting for. How do you spot one of these 1986 no mint mark Lincoln pennies that might be worth millions? No mint mark. If there's a D under the date, it came from Denver. You want the one with no letter under. 1986. Color. If it looks more like a deep reddish bronze rather than your average shiny copper, that could be a sign it's struck on the wrong metal. Weight. A normal 1986 penny weighs about 2.5 grams. A bronze one will weigh closer to 3.1 grams. You'll need a digital scale that measures to at least 1/10 of a gram. Condition. The better the condition, the more it's worth. If it looks like it just came out of a roll yesterday, no scratches, full luster, you could be in the money. Error signs. Look for anything weird, double stamping, off-center images, weird spacing in the letters, or die cracks. Before you go buying the beachfront condo, get it graded. You'll want to send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These folks are the real deal. They'll examine your coin under high-powered microscopes, verify its metal content, and assign it a grade. If it comes back with an MS65 or higher, and it's got those rare traits, congratulations. You're officially holding a coin worth more than a Lamborghini. The last known sale of a rare 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny with these traits brought in $1.4 million at a private auction. The collector who bought it wanted it bad. Some say he had been chasing that exact type of error for over 15 years. And with today's coin market hotter than ever, thanks to social media, YouTube, and rising precious metal prices, experts say the next one could go even higher. Maybe $1.6 million. Maybe $2 million. It's a seller's market, folks. Could be worth more than a Ferrari. All because of a simple error and a blank spot where a mint mark should be. Check your 1986 pennies. Look for no mint mark. Weigh them. Study them. And if you think you've got something special, get it graded and authenticated. You never know. That little copper coin you've been ignoring could be the ticket to your dream retirement, your kid's college tuition, or a fishing cabin in the mountains. Before you go, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on the next video. I've got more coin stories coming your way. Stuff that'll blow your mind and maybe even your wallet. Drop a comment below. Let me know if you've got a 1986 penny in your collection, or if you've ever found a rare coin. I love hearing your stories. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and until next time, keep checking your change. You never know what you got until it's worth $1 million. Hey fellas, grab your coffee, take a seat, and get ready, because what I'm about to tell you could make you a millionaire without ever buying a lottery ticket. You ever looked at a penny and thought, this old thing ain't worth squat? Well, hold on to your hats, because today we're talking about a simple 2003 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. That's worth a jaw-dropping $1.50 million. Yep, you heard that right. A penny, worth more than a Ferrari. And it might just be sitting in your change jar right now. I end this video. I'm gonna break down everything you need to know. The history, the reasons behind the insane value, what to look for, real-life examples, and how you can cash in if you're lucky enough to find one. Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was helping my dad clean out his old workshop. You know the one, full of screws, rusted tools, coffee cans full of nails, and of course coins. Well, in one of those old cans, I found a pile of pennies. Most of them were nothing special, just beat-up coppers from the 70s and 80s. But that got me curious, so I started doing a little digging. And buddy, once I learned that some pennies could be worth thousands, heck, millions, I was hooked. That day changed the way I look at every coin. And today, I'm here to do the same for you. The 2003 Lincoln penny was part of the standard run of Lincoln Memorial cents. That same OL portrait of Honest Abe we've been carrying around in our pockets since 1909. Now, by 2003, the penny was mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. They'd switched from solid copper in 1982 because of rising metal costs. But here's the kicker. Not all 2003 pennies were created equal. Most of them were made in either Philadelphia or Denver. If there's a D on the penny, it's from Denver. No mint mark? That means it was made in Philadelphia. And that's where our $1 million story begins. So why would a 2003 penny with no mint mark be worth $1.50 million? It all comes down to a rare minting error combined with near-perfect condition. You see, back in 2003, a small batch of these Lincoln pennies came out with a dramatic die error. Some had doubled features, others were struck on the wrong planchet, and a few even had design anomalies due to over-polishing of the die. What makes the $1 million penny so valuable is a combination of all the right mistakes. Plus, it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. That means no scratches, no wear, and flawless surfaces. That's what coin collectors call mint state, or MS. And here's the twist. Only one example of this particular error penny is known to exist in MS-70 condition, which is perfect. That's why it's been appraised at $1.5 million. Start by grabbing a magnifying glass and checking your 2003 pennies for these signs. Look closely at Lincoln's eyes, the date, or the word Liberty. If the penny looks too shiny, silver-colored, or oddly thick or thin, it might be struck on a dime or foreign coin planchet. Missing details on Lincoln's coat or face may mean excessive polishing at the mint. If it's been rattling in your glove box for years, it's probably not MS-70. But if it's sharp, shiny, and looks almost new, you might have a contender. The record-breaking 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln penny sold at a private auction for $1.5 million. The buyer? A high-end coin collector who just had to have it. Other 2003 pennies with minor errors and high grades have also sold for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. One with a mild double die error fetched over $1,200 on eBay. Another with strong luster and near-perfect strike went for $6,000 at heritageauctions.so. Even if you don't find the $1 million penny, you could still make a good chunk of change if you find one with an interesting error. If this video has you eyeing your change jar, good. Because collecting coins isn't just for old-timers. It's fun, rewarding, and you never know when lightning will strike. Even a $10 jeweler's loupe will do the trick. Learn what MS-60 through MS-70 means. Use coin flips or albums to protect them from damage. Check sites like PCGS, NGC, and eBay to see what coins are selling for. And never clean your coins. Seriously, that can ruin the value. That humble 2003 penny with no mint mark might seem like pocket change, but to the right collector, it's a golden ticket. A $1.5 million fortune hiding in plain sight. So next time you're counting coins at the gas station or digging under the couch cushions, pay attention. Because you might be holding the rarest penny of them all. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more hidden treasures. And drop a comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin? I'd love to hear your story. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins bring the biggest paydays. Drop your spare change in a jar every night, thinking maybe one day you roll it all up and buy a steak dinner. But what if I told you that one little copper-colored penny, yeah, just one, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million? Yep. You heard that right. And it's not some ancient coin from the 1800s either. We're talking about a 2013 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Stick around, because in this video, we're going deep into the history, the hidden value, the minting mistakes, and what makes this little guy the king of modern pennies. I'll even share a personal story about the time I almost spent a valuable penny on a gas station coffee. True story. So grab a cold drink, kick your feet up, and let's talk coins. Because this isn't just pocket change anymore. In 2013, the US Mint was cranking out billions, and I mean billions, of Lincoln pennies. These were part of the ongoing Lincoln Cent series, which has been around since 1909. That's over 100 years of honest Abe showing up in your pockets. Now, typically, coins come with a mint mark, a little letter like P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, telling you where the coin was made. But every now and then, something funky happens at the mint, and a coin rolls off the press without a mint mark. That, my friends, is where things get interesting. The 2013 Lincoln penny we're talking about is one of those oddballs. No mint mark. Looks innocent enough, right? But due to a minting error, or what some call a striking anomaly, this penny became extremely rare, and today, it's worth a mind-blowing $1.6 million to the right collector. Here's the deal. The majority of 2013 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, and in 2013, the mint began adding the P mark to many coins. However, pennies from Philly still don't have a mint mark, and they're not considered rare. There were a few coins that should have had a mint mark, because they were supposed to come from Denver or San Francisco, but didn't. These accidental No mint mark. Errors slipped through unnoticed until some sharp-eyed collectors found them. Only a tiny number of these 2013 pennies without mint marks came from a misfeed or a die transfer mix-up. It's kind of like accidentally printing a $100 bill on notebook paper. Instantly rare, instantly valuable. And because only a handful were ever discovered, collectors started bidding like crazy. One particular 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny sold at auction for $1.6 million. Let that sink in. A coin that most folks wouldn't think twice about, worth more than a brand new Lamborghini. Back in 2014, I was at a little roadside diner, you know the kind, where the coffee's cheap and the eggs taste like yesterday's bacon grease. Anyway, I reached into my pocket and paid for my $2.99 breakfast with exact change. Later that day, I went through some old pictures and realized I'd used a 2013 penny with no mint mark, just like the one we're talking about. Now, I'm not saying that was the $1 million penny, but let's just say I've lost more sleep over that breakfast than I have over my last 2 marriages. Alright, let's talk spotting one of these treasures. If you've got a 2013 Lincoln penny, flip it over and look for these key things. No mint mark on the front. Below the year. Some of the rare ones have sharper details due to double dies or early die states. Uncirculated condition is gold, figuratively. But even a circulated penny could fetch 6 figures. Don't just rely on your eyes, though. A magnifying glass or even a cheap USB microscope can help you pick out the tiny details that make a big difference. And if you think you've got a winner, send it to PCGS or NGC, professional grading services that'll authenticate and grade your coin. A verified grade is what turns your penny into a bank-breaking treasure. Back in 2023, one of these rare 2013 no mint mark pennies went up for auction and fetched $1.6 million. Since then, the buzz has only grown. Coin collectors and investors alike are scrambling to find the next one. Even lower grade examples of this error can sell for $10,000 to $50,000, depending on condition. That's still not a bad return on a penny, wouldn't you say? Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers are keeping close eyes on every new Lincoln penny error that hits the block. And you better believe there are guys out there scouring rolls of pennies from the bank just hoping to strike copper gold. So, why do collectors go nuts over this particular penny? Most $1 million coins are ancient. This one? From 2013. That's yesterday in coin years. The lowest of the low. The coin people leave in those. Take a penny. Trays. It's like finding out the quiet guy from accounting is actually a millionaire with a yacht in the Bahamas. It's the surprise factor that makes it so appealing. That jar of pennies collecting dust on your dresser? It could be hiding a $1.6 million surprise. So the next time you reach for change, slow down. Check the date. Look for that missing mint mark. And if you find a 2013 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you might just be holding your retirement plan in the palm of your hand. Hit that like button, subscribe for more coin collecting gold, and drop a comment below if you've got any wild penny stories. And hey, if you find that $1 million penny, don't forget who told you about it. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into a story that proves once again why you should always be keeping an eye on your change. If you thought pennies were just pocket change, well, let me blow your mind. We're talking about a 1996 D. Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $997,000. Yeah, you heard that right. Almost $1 million for a coin that probably looks like something you'd toss in the parking meter. But, as always, the world of coin collecting has some serious surprises up its sleeve. You know, I'll be honest, when I first started collecting coins, I wasn't all that impressed by pennies. I mean, they're small, they're copper-colored, and they're everywhere. But that's the thing about coin collecting, you never know what you'll stumble across. One day, you're going through your old coin jar, and the next, you could find yourself holding on to a piece of history that's worth a small fortune. Trust me, I've had a few close calls myself. So sit back, grab a coffee, and let's get into the nitty-gritty of why this 1996 penny could be worth so much. You won't want to miss this. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1996 Abraham Lincoln penny is, well, just like any other penny you'd find in circulation. It's part of the Lincoln cent series, which has been around since 1909, celebrating the life and legacy of the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. The 1996 penny was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark. It's made of 97.5% copper and 2.5% zinc, pretty standard for modern pennies. But here's the kicker. It's not the penny itself that makes this coin so valuable, it's the rarity and the condition of the coin that sets it apart. Let's talk about what makes this penny stand out. We all know there are billions of pennies in circulation. But like most valuable coins, the worth doesn't come from just being rare. It comes from specific characteristics that make certain coins unique. One of the key factors in why this penny is worth so much comes down to minting errors. Sometimes, during the minting process, things can go a little haywire. Misprints, double dies, and other mistakes happen. Some of these errors can turn an otherwise standard penny into a highly sought-after coin. For the 1996 penny, it's all about the double die obverse. This is a coin where the front, or obverse, shows a doubled image of Lincoln's face, which is a rare error. This small mistake turns an otherwise common penny into a collector's dream. The value of this penny skyrockets if it's in excellent condition. A coin that's been sitting in your change jar, banged around in your pocket, and exposed to the elements won't be worth nearly as much as one that's in mint condition. We're talking about pennies with sharp details, no wear, and no discoloration. The better the condition, the more it's worth. While there are a lot of 1996 pennies out there, the ones with these minting errors are extremely rare. And it's this rarity, combined with the error, that really drives up the price. There aren't many of these errors floating around, and those that do tend to end up in the hands of serious collectors. So, what's the market like for a 1996 penny worth $997,000? Well, the world of coin collecting is like the stock market, full of ups and downs. The demand for rare coins, especially those with errors, is high. Collectors are always on the lookout for new finds, and when a coin like this hits the market, it attracts a lot of attention. There are various auction houses and online platforms where rare coins are sold. If a 1996 penny with a double die obverse and in mint condition were to hit the auction block, it could easily fetch close to $1 million. But that's not a guaranteed price. It all depends on the condition, the rarity of the error, and the current market trends. You might be wondering, how do I know if I have one of these pennies? Well, let's break it down. The most important thing you're looking for is the double die obverse. This means that the image of Abraham Lincoln's face and the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" are slightly doubled. It's not obvious to the untrained eye, but if you have a magnifying glass or a loupe, you'll be able to spot it. The doubling happens because the die was misaligned during the minting process. If your coin has a double die error, that's great, but you still need to assess the condition. The best way to do this is to look at the details. Is Lincoln's face sharp, or does it look worn out? Are the letters crisp, or are they blurry? Coins in near-perfect condition will be worth far more than those that have been damaged or worn down. If you think you found one of these pennies, the next step is to get it professionally graded. A grading service will evaluate the coin's condition and assign it a grade. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Coins in grades of MS65 or above are the most desirable and command the highest prices. Now that you've got the inside scoop on the 1996 Abraham Lincoln penny, here's my advice. Keep an eye out for those pennies in your pocket change. You never know what you might find. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and sometimes it's the most ordinary looking coins that turn out to be worth a small fortune. It's not just about finding rare coins. It's about understanding what makes them valuable. Whether it's a minting error, a rare condition, or simply a coin with historical significance, there's always something to learn in the world of coin collecting. If you have a 1996 penny with a double die error, or just want to learn more about other coins that could be worth serious money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And hey, if you find one of these rare pennies, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. So, there you have it. A simple penny could be worth $1 million if you know what to look for. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the BS Coins with channel. Today, I'm about to blow your mind. We're going to talk about a penny. Yes, a penny that's worth nearly $800,000. No, this isn't a typo. It's the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark, and it's one of the most surprising discoveries in the world of coin collecting. Now, if you've been collecting coins for a while, or even if you're just starting out, you know that pennies are usually not the big-ticket items. They're the change you toss in a jar, or maybe lose in your car. But not this one. This particular penny is a goldmine hiding in plain sight. And if you're like me, you're probably wondering, how in the world did this penny get so valuable? Well, let's break it down and dig into everything that makes this coin so special. Before we dive into the history and the details, a quick shout out to all of you who've been following the channel and making it a place where we can share tips, tricks, and knowledge about coin collecting. If you haven't yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on more mind-blowing coin info like this. What makes the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny special? Alright, let's talk about the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark. This coin is part of the ongoing series honoring Abraham Lincoln, and just like other pennies in the series, you'll find the familiar image of Honest Abe on the obverse side. But here's the kicker. While most pennies have either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia mint mark, this one has nothing on it. And that's exactly what makes it stand out. Why the missing mint mark matters in most cases. A coin without a mint mark is rare. Typically, coins are minted either in Philadelphia, Denver, or West Point, and each of those locations stamps their mark on the coin to indicate where it was made. But occasionally, a coin slips through the cracks, and a batch comes out without the stamp. In the case of the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny, this is no small mistake. This is a legitimate error. Now, you might be asking, so what does that mean for the coin's value? Well, like most coin errors, it dramatically increases the rarity. The fewer there are, the more valuable they can become. But not all errors are created equal. So let's get into how much this specific coin is worth today. When you first hear $797,000, you probably think, there's no way a penny could be worth that much. But it's true. This coin has been making waves in the coin collecting world for its rarity and value. Coins like this one that are produced with an unexpected mistake, like the lack of a mint mark, create a perfect storm for collectors looking for something unique. The reason this particular penny is valued at nearly $800,000 comes down to a few key factors: rarity, condition, and demand. There's only a limited number of these mint error pennies out there, which is why they are so sought after. While the US Mint doesn't exactly track every mistake they make, error coins are often discovered by eagle-eyed collectors who notice oddities in their change. In the case of the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny, it's believed that only a handful of these coins exist, making them incredibly rare. Like any coin, condition matters. If you have a 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny that looks like it's been through the ringer, you're not going to get top dollar for it. However, If you find one in mint condition, well, that's where the big money comes in. The 2016 penny with no mint mark is often found in near perfect condition, which boosts its value. The better the coin's condition, the higher the value. If you're lucky enough to have one of these pennies in pristine condition, you could be holding on to a serious treasure. Coin collectors and investors are constantly on the lookout for rare finds, and the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark has become one of those holy grails. As with anything rare and valuable, the demand for it only increases over time. So, as more people discover its worth, the value could continue to climb. A personal coin collecting story now. I've got a little story that might resonate with some of you. I remember a few years back when I was at a local coin show, just a small one in a community hall. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, just browsing and chatting with other collectors. Then, this one guy came up to me, practically vibrating with excitement, holding out a coin in his hand. It was a penny. Just a regular old penny. But there was something different about it. After looking at it for a moment, I noticed that it didn't have a mint mark. It wasn't the 2016 penny I'm talking about today, but it was a similar situation. A penny without a mint mark, and that was a huge deal. The guy told me that he'd found it at his local bank, and it was just sitting in a roll of pennies that he'd bought for face value. Can you imagine? He'd just bought it for a couple of bucks and stumbled upon a coin that would eventually fetch thousands at auction. I remember thinking, man, I've got to pay more attention to my change. And that's when it clicked for me. Coins can sometimes be more than just currency. They can be time capsules, reminders of history, and in the case of error coins, they can be gold mines. To wrap things up, the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark is a coin that defies expectations. At nearly $800,000, this penny isn't just a small change. It's a rare, valuable collector's item that could change your life if you happen to find one. The key takeaways here are that rarity, condition, and demand all play huge roles in determining the value of these kinds of coins. And while you may not find one of these error pennies just lying around on the ground, it's always worth checking through your spare change, rolls of pennies, or even looking through some older collections. Who knows? You could have one of these rare pennies sitting in your pocket right now. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and drop a comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin? Share your stories. I'd love to hear them. And as always, stay tuned for more coin collecting tips, tricks, and the latest news about valuable coins. Hey everyone, welcome back to the BS Coinswood channel. If you're a coin collector, or just someone who's into finding hidden treasures in your pocket change, you're in the right place. Today, we've got something that could blow your mind, because we're talking about the 1988 Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard that right, the 1988 penny. And believe it or not, some of these little guys are worth a whopping $767,000. Pause for effect. Now, I know what you're thinking. No way, that's just a regular penny, right? Well, stick around, because we're diving deep into how this particular penny went from pocket change to a small fortune, and I'm going to walk you through what makes these pennies so special. You might even have one hiding in your collection or your jar of loose change right now. But first, let me share a quick personal story. Back when I was a kid, I used to collect coins just like many of you probably did. I remember thinking that the 1988 penny was just another ordinary coin. Fast forward to today, and I'd give anything to have a few of those pennies in mint condition. So, if you've got one lying around, you might want to pay attention. Now, let's jump into the details. Alright, let's break it down. So, what makes the 1988 Abraham Lincoln penny worth nearly $767,000? Well, first things first, Most of the pennies minted in 1988 are pretty standard, nothing to write home about. They're composed of copper-plated zinc and were produced by the billions. But, and this is a big but, there's a small percentage of these coins that are worth a lot of money. It all boils down to one key factor: the no-mint mark variety of the 1988 penny. That's right, a regular old penny with no mint mark and in pristine condition could be worth nearly $750,000. Now, I know some of you are already thinking, how do I find one of these? Don't worry, I've got you covered. In 1988, the U.S. Mint struck millions of pennies at the Philadelphia Mint, and these coins typically don't have a mint mark. However, many collectors and experts believe that a few of these coins were accidentally produced with an extremely rare error, and that error is what makes them valuable. So what's the actual error? It's something called the double die error, which occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the minting process. This causes certain features of the coin to be struck multiple times, creating a distinct double image. For the 1988 penny, the doubled image is often found in the date and the lettering on the obverse side. Now, it's important to note that not all 1988 pennies are going to be worth a fortune. In fact, only a small percentage of them are the ones with that double die error. And when I say small, I mean really small. We're talking about a handful of coins that were caught in the right place at the right time, and, more importantly, have been preserved in pristine condition. So how do you know if you've got one of these ultra-valuable pennies? Well, the first thing to look for is the double die. Check the date carefully. If you notice that the 1988 is doubled, even just a little bit, you could be holding on to something special. The other thing to keep an eye out for is the condition of the coin. A 1988 penny with a double die error and in mint condition can fetch a price that'll make your jaw drop. And speaking of condition, that's another key factor when it comes to coin value. The more well-preserved the coin is, the more it's worth. A coin with minimal wear and tear, especially one that's been kept in a protective case, is going to be far more valuable than one that's seen better days. But hold up, there's another twist to this story. Not every 1988 penny with a double die error is going to automatically fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like most things in life, it all depends on supply and demand. These coins are incredibly rare, so when one of them pops up at auction, the bidding can go absolutely wild. There's one auction where a 1988 penny with a double die error sold for nearly $767,000. Can you believe it? Now, the auction market is where things can get pretty interesting. If you do happen to find one of these 1988 pennies and you're thinking about selling, it's all about finding the right buyer. A well-placed auction with serious collectors will always drive up the price. And let me tell you, some of these coins have gotten the attention of some pretty big players in the coin world. The 1988 Abraham Lincoln penny, a small coin that could potentially change your life if you've got one of those rare, double die error versions. And if you've got a collection of pennies sitting in a jar somewhere, now's the time to go through them. You never know, you could be holding on to a small fortune. But even if you don't have the $767,000 penny sitting around, the thrill of discovering rare coins is what makes this hobby so much fun. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into the 1988 penny and want to learn more about rare coins worth a lot of money, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and drop a comment below. I want to hear from you. Have you ever stumbled upon a coin that was worth more than you thought? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep your eyes peeled for those rare finds. You never know when that next jackpot might come your way. Hey there, guys. Welcome back to the BS Coinswood channel, where we dive into the world of coins worth a lot of money. And let me tell you, today, we've got a real gem for you. I'm talking about a coin that you might just have sitting in your collection, or heck, in your pocket. That's right, We're talking about the 1998 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. It's got a market value that'll make your head spin. I'm talking about $667,000. Yup, you heard me right. Over $500,000 for a penny. Now, before you check your pocket and start flipping through your coin jar looking for one of these elusive pennies, let's talk about what makes this coin so valuable and how you could potentially cash in on it. Let's start with the basics. What makes a 1998 penny with no mint mark worth so much? I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny, right? Well, not quite. Most people think a penny is, well, just a penny. But for coin collectors, those small little details can mean big bucks. This is where the story of this coin gets interesting. Cut to close-up of a regular 1998 penny, then slowly zoom in on an example with no mint mark. First, let's talk about what a penny normally looks like. You've got the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse and, of course, Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse. The 1998 penny might seem like any other penny in your pocket. But here's where it gets fun. Normally, pennies have a mint mark that tells you where they were made. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, you name it. Most 1998 pennies have the D mint mark, indicating they were made in Denver. But the key here is the 1998 penny with no mint mark. And that's what makes this one special. Why? Because these coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. And here's the kicker. It's extremely rare to find one from that year without a mint mark. So, if you happen to have one sitting around, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Why is a little penny from 1998 worth $667,000? Well, this is where we get into the world of rarity and error coins. Coin collectors, also known as numismatists, will tell you that a coin's value doesn't just depend on its age. It's about condition, rarity, and sometimes errors. Cut to a graphic showing the scarcity of the 1998 no mint mark penny. Back in 1998, the Philadelphia Mint produced pennies without any mint marks for some of their batches. These were supposed to be struck with a P mint mark, indicating they were from Philadelphia, but for some reason, the mint mark was left off. Over time, that mistake, an accidental omission, has become a massive part of the coin's value. In fact, it's one of the most sought-after error coins of the late 20th century. Not only do collectors love a good error coin, but this one, in particular, is elusive enough to get those high prices. Now, let's talk about condition. Because, let's be honest, you can't just take any old beat-up penny from your wallet and expect to cash in big time. A 1998 penny with no mint mark in mint condition, that means shiny, no wear, no scratches, could fetch upwards of $667,000 at auction. But here's the thing, coin grading is a whole art form. The experts at places like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, are the ones who determine the grade of your coin. And if you've got one of these bad boys and an MS65 or higher, you've got a real shot at getting that big payout. Cut to the host showing a close-up of a 1998 penny on a white background. Alright, let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do you actually spot one of these valuable pennies? First off, don't just go by the look of the coin surface. Check the back. On a regular penny, the reverse features the Lincoln Memorial. But if you want to check for a mint mark, here's a pro tip. Look below the memorial, where the mint mark should be. If you see nothing, that's your indicator that it's a 1998 penny without a mint mark. This coin has to come from the Philadelphia Mint, so it won't have a P. If it's blank, you're in the money. But remember, not all 1998 pennies without mint marks are worth a fortune. To get those crazy prices, you're looking for one in perfect condition and ideally with no major signs of wear. If you got one that's still got that brand new look, don't just toss it back in the jar. Cut to a segment showing images of recent auctions and coin collectors. Now, let's talk about the real deal, the money. Over the years, there have been reports of these coins fetching big bucks at auction. The highest recorded sale for a 1998 no-mint mark penny came in at a whopping $667,000. That's more than some of the rarest gold coins out there. So what's driving the price? Well, it's a combination of rarity, demand, and condition. And when an rare coin like this goes under the hammer, you can bet collectors are going to fight for it. I've got a little story for you. There was this guy, let's call him Dave. Dave was just your average guy, worked a 9-to-5 job, collected coins as a hobby, nothing too fancy. One day, he was going through his change, and bam! He found a 1998 penny with no mint mark. It didn't look like much at first, just another coin. But Dave knew about rare coins. He'd done his homework. So he took it to a local coin dealer. The dealer didn't seem too impressed at first, but when he took a second look, he nearly fell out of his chair. Turns out, Dave had a real gem on his hands. He sold it at auction for $667,000. That's right, Dave made almost $750,000 off a single penny. So here's what you need to do. Go ahead and grab that jar of pennies that's been collecting dust in the corner of your room. Don't just pass over it because it looks like spare change. You could have a small fortune hiding in there. Even if you don't find a 1998 no-mint mark penny, it's still a good habit to check your coins every once in a while. You never know what might be worth big money. Alright guys, I think you've got a pretty good idea of what makes the 1998 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark so valuable. It's all about rarity, condition, and a little bit of luck. So if you're lucky enough to stumble upon one of these, don't just toss it aside, take a closer look. Who knows? You might be sitting on a gold mine. Or should I say a penny mine? Thanks for watching, and remember, always keep an eye out for those hidden treasures. Hit that like button if you learned something new, and don't forget to subscribe for more coin tips, stories, and all the ways you can turn your hobby into a fortune.